Here we go. Welcome to Feisty Chess. We've got black against e4. And let's play Alekhine's Defense. It's been a while. We're going against Wagner 1 on Lichess. 10-5 game. I'm going to try to keep it within the time limits this time. d4. d4. I think I just take. The whole point of Alekhine's Defense. Bishop c4 doesn't make a lot of sense because of d5. Okay, we're up a pawn. Best way to proceed here, I'm thinking getting this bishop out. Before we play e6. Okay. Let's just go ahead with e6. You can have the bishop pair, I suppose. But not after bishop e7. You can't. Can't play knight a5, a4, h4 now. But you can play that. Either c5 or knight d7. Or maybe I need to go h6 here to give my bishop a safe place. Or f6. No, f6. f6 is okay. f6 works because queen h5 does not work then. Because g6. You know, if he's willing to play g4 just to get that bishop pair, let's let him do it. I'm gonna go for c5. Oh no. Oh, then he has bishop a5, a4 check, and I have to move my king. Okay, let's just develop. This can't be bad. I didn't want to go to c6 because I didn't like the look of the pin. Knight c6, bishop a4. Looks awfully uncomfortable for me. That's why I have c6. Suppose I could have just castled. Castling might have been the best move there. Okay. I think I'm just going to castle. If I take his knight, it just helps him develop. Okay. I wouldn't mind getting the queens off the board, so I'm going to initiate some exchanges here. That's his best piece. Let's just trade it off. Let's look at this. Takes. Oops. Yeah, he probably needs to recapture here. And I'll just play something like c6. And he'll need to move his knight. Go for c5 immediately. I like the looks of this. And we're pawn up. Let's just simplify. Also, we're opening the board when he is less developed than us. Bishop b4 might really expedite matters here. He doesn't have a way to defend that, and that forces a queen trade. Defend the knight on d2, that is. Bishop b4. I mean, we could just do mass trades on d2. I got 3 attackers, he only has 2 defenders. So yeah. Here we go. We're going to make our extra pawn count in an ending where it counts for a lot more. If knight takes e4, I think I can get away with queen takes here. Let's look. Queen takes queen. He's got this intermediate check. With knight f6. I take the knight, he takes the queen. I'm just getting a pawn out of that deal, actually. And I'm solving my back rank problems. One thing I'm not so much a big fan of here is that he can get a rook to d7. But he's not in time to double those rooks. I'm looking at this. Queen takes d1, rook takes d1, bishop takes knight, rook to d7, and then I play like rook a to c8, and then he gets his bishop out somewhere. I can kick it off that diagonal if I need to. Rook, so let's say bishop e3, rook f to d8, then he can double up on me, and I can't bring my king over in time to help out. So I think I'm going to give up on that queen trade plan here. Oh, but that's costing me a pawn otherwise, isn't it? He's got queen to b3. Okay, no, I've got bishop c6 in that line, so I'm going to trade queens. Maybe we'll see what I'm talking about here. So now I take the knight. Actually, ooh. Okay, no, I don't even need bishop c6. I can just, if he goes rook d7, I can bring a rook to d8 to challenge immediately. If he takes that pawn, he just gets mated or just loses a bishop. He's got back rank issues here. Okay, now he doesn't. So now I challenge the d file. Keep the rook on the queen side. This allows us to get our king a little closer too. And this old trick doesn't work. If he tries rook takes, and then taking this pawn, that's a poisoned pawn because I can trap the bishop. with b6. Okay. Wouldn't mind trading off those light squared bishops, actually. Maybe that's a future plan. I'm just gonna Just gonna play king f8. He doesn't have the luxury of going king f1 here because I've got bishop d3 check, kicking him back. I didn't count on this move. Oh, but I have this, which serves this purpose nicely. Okay. I'm not sure if I want to start pushing those pawns on the queen side yet with like b6 and c5. He goes back to e3. Let's just play b6. I don't see a reason not to here. Our c pawn will eventually be a pass pawn, and c5 is a idea at some point. Now probably a more sensible idea would be, okay, where does this bishop want to go? Because there it's subject to, need to be able to push c5. So let's bring it back to b7. And now rook to c8 can be met with c5. I was looking at c6, but then rook c8, and even if I trade on d1, he can just take with the bishop. And then this bishop is unguarded, and once it moves, it has to, he's going to grab on 7th rank and be on my other bishop. Doesn't look pleasant. Okay, let's trade a pair of rooks now that our bishop is in place to facilitate this move. The rook's off the board. It's, I think, much better winning chances for me. If we go to a rook endgame, though, it's more difficult to win those. Perfect. We want to play c5 anyway. Getting tired, I guess. Okay, we've got a check here. Is that worth making? I don't think so. Maybe g5 would be a good way to shut down stuff on his king side. Rook d3, anything worthwhile? Does my rook belong behind the pass pawn? You know, I want to get my king more in the game, but maybe we need to trade off more pieces first. Okay. I got to make a move. I'm going to go with g5. That does soften things up for the light squared bishop, doesn't it? h7. Maybe I'm giving black a little too much counterplay. Sorry, white. Okay. We can take and weaken the structure a little bit. How is rook d3 a good idea? Rook d4? Yeah, rook d4 looks very strong here. I'm going for this since we're have time for a lot of other ideas. He's got to protect that bishop or lose his g-pawn. He has king e3 and king g3. e3, though, runs into tactics because I check on e4, and that just loses for him. So he's got to go king g3. But then I've got maybe bishop h4 check, trading off those dark squared bishops, and getting my rook. Looks a little bit tenuous. I also have a check on d3 then. Maybe I'll go bishop c6, planning something like bishop h4 check. But I think, yeah, he needs to. Oh, he has a check. He does have a check on h6. I just now see this. Okay. Best spot for my king has got to be g8, which doesn't look ideal. Ooh, there's lots of back rank ideas here. I think I'm going for it, though, because otherwise he gets this bishop check in, and then I'm on the d file, and then he can just grab this pawn, simply moving his bishop too. So if I go to e8, bishop check, king to d8, and then bishop back to c2, and there's no saving that pawn. Well, I can grab this pawn, I suppose. It's a trade. Ooh, and I'm spending a skewer. Okay, maybe that wasn't so bad. It also would centralize my king better. But what's done is done. He also this also prevents him from protecting this e pawn. So I got ideas like bishop d5 here. I don't like the back rank problems I have, though. But something like, well, no, I can't do f6 as long as this bishop is on this diagonal. I got bishop d5. That's a good idea here. King g3 is probably the best idea still. I guess I've got bishop f8. Okay, this looks too dangerous because it allows rook here. Let's go for this. This does kind of clog up my rook a little bit, doesn't it? If he goes bishop c2, whew. That would allow me to play f6. I'm not sure f6 is any good. I don't like it. Okay, I gotta give my rook some freedom of movement on that file. I don't like the way this looks. Okay, I'm running on the increment mostly here. I don't like giving up the d file. I think bishop f8 might be a good way to go here, and then I can get, if he doesn't trade bishops, I can play my bishop to g7. It looks better there. Ooh, let us trade rooks. Let us do that. Let's just get that bishop there protected. Okay, bishop f8 as planned. I don't even have to give up h7 to do this way, now that that bishop is diverted. Okay, I will accept that. And I will just get my bishop on this diagonal so that he can't attack this pawn. Okay, I see the idea. He's got to check here. Okay, let's just keep my king there for safety's sake. I might not have a win here. If he ever moves his king, I can get to e7. That'd be an improvement. Maybe a bishop over here would have been good. This is tempting him to play here. In which case, does he really want to do that? Let's just make a move. Oh no, I've allowed him onto that diagonal. I have to block and give this up. I still have a winning, I think I have a winning king and pawn ending here. Even if I have to drop back to f8, I think. Yeah, we're going to make a passer over here. Okay, we've got a protected passer now. I think I could just take his. I've got the only pass pawn on the board. His 2 pawns over here are useless. Probably swoop over and grab this pawn without having to give up my own. It's a step back now, or make this move, in which case I just wait myself. Now I'll be able to grab this pawn, come back and protect mine, and he's got to step back. If he goes here, I just will promote this pawn. Okay, whew. Pretty tense finish there. It's amazing how these games can get your nerves going, you know, just a simple chess game online. It's me every time. So let's look at it. Alekhine's Defense, and won that pawn on move 2. d4 is not one I was prepared for. It is a move here. I wonder if it has a name. Let's see what the book says. Omega Gambit. Okay, you can get to this. It's an Indian game. You can usually get to it through d4, knight f6, and then e4. Omega Gambit. That sounds like a Transformers episode. All right. Knight takes. Yeah, black scores well here. Bishop c4 is definitely not the way to go, though. It just allows this with tempo. So let's turn on the engine. Look at this. Yeah, we're up almost 2 pawns according to computer evaluation. Likes knight takes d2 here. Knight takes e5 as well. Wow, I'm up a whole lot. Probably it senses that I can force this queen trade. Queen d4. Oh, that makes a threat on the bishop by removing the guard here. Bishop b4 wasn't the ideal move. Hold on, let's look at this line. It says it has white just giving up a piece, it looks like. Knight takes e4, queen takes c4, bishop g5. Oh, that doesn't give up a piece, it just complicates with some tactics. The hanging pieces here. This knight is hanging, this bishop is hanging. But it works out to keep the material as it is. Knight takes e4, rook takes d1, bishop takes e4, bishop e3. Okay, now it's just down to a pawn advantage. Now trading queens didn't work out from the computer's perspective. And from my perspective, this makes it a lot less work to win. a5, okay, king f8. Trade rooks here, huh? It does like bishop d5. I suppose that makes sense. Trading the rooks and trying to trade more rooks. And white really helped me out when he made that decision later to trade rooks. Okay, now I'm expecting the evaluation will come up some. I don't know if g5 is the right play. Okay, the computer doesn't hate it. G takes f4. Makes rook d3 better, just keeping the king from jumping to the third rank. Rook d4. Oh, rook c4. That's a way to defend, I guess. Oh, it doesn't like this. And king g8 was right. Let's look at king e8. Okay, we're still doing real well here. King g8. Hold on, I was concerned about d8. King d8, now this. Oh, I didn't see this. I didn't see that idea. What if I had to do this? Okay, still an advantage, a healthy advantage. Rook d3 check. King f2, rook f3. Sorry, king f2, rook h3. So it wants this, and then the rook comes here. Oops. Rook hits both of those. And then g5, huh? I would think bishop here, but no, then there's this rook fork supported by the bishop. So he's going to lose that h2 pawn thanks to my rook invasion. Okay, I wasn't thinking aggressively enough. I didn't think that check amounted to anything. So I went for that. Bishop c2, bishop d8. Oh, just intending to go after this pawn with the bishop. That makes lots of sense. He doesn't have any threats over on the king side. So just this idea, it's very simple. And how does he defend? If he defends with the rook, then his rook becomes very passive. And I can maybe drop this back and then go for that. And if he defends then with a king, that's pinned, and I am going to win this. That's one line. Yeah, this trade here, I mean, the computer evaluation doesn't change all that much, but the human evaluation is like, I would love to trade rooks, and especially since that allows me to concretely, right afterwards, after making that threat, then play bishop f8 and kick that bishop off this diagonal. An interesting try. Oh, bishop e7. And he's just not playing with that bishop anymore. I'm not playing with my king. But that's an interesting try. Doesn't like that choice. Now it's not clear whether black has a win. I probably should have played f5 here. And that guarantees, whoa. No, you take f6. Oh, right. I get my bishop up here. I do need to get my bishop on that diagonal. Although bishop c4, I don't know about that. It seems to be the way to pursue something. King f4, bishop g6. What about f5 here? That's very bad, apparently. Yeah, because I'm going to get kicked off this diagonal. This bishop is active. Now it's just drawn. If I go this way, it's probably losing. I mean, he's got this plan, giving this pawn down here, and then my bishop has to give up on one of these pawns. No, hold on, I can just take. And then if he plays here, I just come back. But he's got bishop moves he can make in the meantime. We'll have something on the king side. So yeah, I went for the right move here. Now we have drawn position, but we're both low on time. Yeah, a6. I thought about a6. And I didn't like that he could force a5. Oh no, he doesn't. He doesn't necessarily force a5. Still, he just keeps an eye on that, and I can never push. I have to push one of these. And if I push this pawn, well, now that my bishop's on that diagonal, maybe that's not so bad. Something like this, but then he can stop this like that on the light squares. If I try to go after this, he can defend. Yeah, and then he's just sort of shutting me down. Okay, then like a6. Yeah, and this was tempting. I mean, he should have just repeated. He could have repeated with bishop b5, but he went for the pawn. But that pawn actually is not worth it because look, his extra pawn is doubled, and it's never going to get to be a queen as long as my h7 pawn stands. I'm the only one with a possibility of a pass pawn here. So here, yeah, he needs to play a4. And I go a6, though. And yeah, the computer's realizing this is losing for white. He has to step his king back eventually. b5, trades, h5, c4. I mean, he can clean up these pawns, but I'll probably win a race between this pawn and that pawn. b4? Really? I think this would make more sense. King d5. Yeah, king f4. King d4. Okay, well, eventually you're going to have to push b4 and trade these pawns. But yeah, his king has to step out of the way. Doesn't want to go where it'll get checked when it's promoted. So yeah, the race looks like this. Ooh, yeah, and he's going to get skewered at the end of this. But actually, oh, he's a move behind. It'd be interesting. Let's do this just to see if that tempo weren't there to be saved. This is a draw, yeah. Oh, let's. Okay, let's just do this. I'm just figuring out some what ifs here. I wanna Let's see if this is enough to win. Probably not. No, because I've got to. Oh man, endgames are fascinating, you guys. There's always just another level you can take him to. He gets to this key square, and I will never be promoting. He gets to f8 with my king locked in here. It's a draw. You can work that out on your own if you're interested. Anyway, a lot of analysis there. Sometimes you got to take the end games all the way to the end. I didn't need to, my opponent didn't force me to do that. Looks like white might be able to draw here with the right play. But this is definitely the wrong move. This gives me a protected pass pawn. And in endings, protected pass pawns are golden child. Okay, the king can never, ever step onto the 5th rank, his own 5th rank, because this pawn will run. He has to, to try to collect that pawn, he's got to try to do this. Sometimes you can undermine them with another pawn, but here that doesn't apply because if ever he pushes here, I just support with this, and my pass pawn will always be protected because I'll just recapture. So I didn't see much better here. Maybe king f5 is a little more accurate and make him waste his moves here. King f4, because remember, this king can never step behind this pawn. And if he goes anywhere else, and he has to go somewhere else now, then I just get an extra pawn. And this would have been even more winning than in the game. But the time was low, and I saw a winning move, and I took it because I knew that I had the only pass pawn, and this had to be winning. And it was just a bonus that I got to clean up these pawns without having to give up my own pawn here. So, okay, instructive endgame there. Always like when it comes down to kings and pawns. Atomic chess. Everyone needs to know some basics of king and pawn endings because so many games come down to it. If you swipe off all the pieces, who's winning this king and pawn ending? It's one of the most important questions in any chess game, all the way through it. In many chess games, always a possibility. So if you don't know who's winning those, you might have a forced win. You might be facing your opponent coming at you with a forced win, and you don't know it if you don't know your king and pawn endings. So get to know those. I've had a lot of success. I feel like I've studied endgames a lot more than a lot of other people at my rating range. So, yeah, especially when you have an opening like this and you just win a pawn for virtually nothing. Great plan to win. Trade off those queens to an ending. I'm not saying I did this perfectly, but my plan came around. My plan ultimately came true here. What I was trying to do. So, okay. But well played, Wagner. Put up some good resistance most of the game. Thanks for watching, everyone, and stay feisty.